Hi，各位好，歡迎翻到我嘅泳之友。今日咧好開心請到我有一個英國嘅朋友，我哋識咗好多年噶啦。咁咧佢個就係叫做 Alan。Hi Alan，how are you doing?
Hello.
Hi. Thank you for spending the time with me to chat with me. Told me about something, interesting thing about England. Yeah, and I have to speak like a British. I love your accent. Hi, yeah. 咁Alan 咧，佢就係不如 Would you like to speak about your background? Will give you something about your background first?
Yes. So my mum was born in China, and then she moved to Hong Kong when she was quite small, and then left Hong Kong. Well, she met my dad. My dad is British. He was in the Royal Navy, and he met my mum, and she left Hong Kong when she was 21, 22, I think.
Oh, wow. How did they meet?
She wanted to learn more English, I think. So my dad was introduced to her as they possibly teach her some English, I think.
Oh, wow. What a romantic story. And then
Yes.
So many years later, you got Alan.
Yes.
Yeah. So let me translate a little bit. 咁Alan 咧就係喺英國出世嘅，咁但係佢媽咪咧就係喺中國嚟，咁就喺香港大啦。咁跟住佢爹哋咧就係英國人嚟，咁香港教英文。咁點知咧佢媽咪咧想學多啲英文，咁點知就同佢爹哋就結咗婚啦，跟住就去咗英國住，就生咗 Alan 啦。咁You have brother, sister too, right? Sister, right?
I've got 2 older sisters and 1 younger brother.
Oh, wow. 2 sisters and younger brother. And they are, some of them born in Hong Kong?
My eldest sister was born in Hong Kong, yes.
Oh, so when your mom and dad got married, they're in Hong Kong. And then they moved here after that?
I think they lived in Singapore for a little while and then moved back over to England.
Oh, how's your mom, have to move away from home when she settled down in England? How does she feel?
I think she found it very difficult because her English wasn't that good then, and there was no internet in those days, so everything had to be done by telegram. We didn't have a telephone at home, so she couldn't keep in touch with her family apart from by telegram or letter. And so I think she found it quite difficult, but she was a very, very strong woman. They supported. She had 4 children, including me, in the end, and brought us all up.
咁佢媽咪咧就佢就有個家姐，最大家姐香港出世喎，然後跟住媽咪去咗新加坡住，跟住嚟咗英國啦。咁佢話媽咪嗰陣時英國喺度住咧都唔容易嘅，因為嗰陣時有冇 internet 啦，連電話都冇喎，要用啲寫嗰啲叫 telegram， 即係嗰啲叫寫信啦，同埋電郵啦，咁變咗係即係都幾難㗎，同即係屋企人聯繫啊咁樣。That's not easy. We're lucky now. I can see you and talk to you from so far away, right? For free.
I know.
For free. I remember when I was college, I don't have really Zoom or anything or cell phone, and we have to use a phone line to call home, and cost so much money. And every minute count. It's like even we have the phone, but it's hard because it costs so much. So we are lucky to live in this technology and how we can reconnect. Yeah. So and then after your mom live in England, and then you were born, and so when you grow up, you're in England, right? So when you grow up, do you feel being half Chinese and half American, and how people perceive you at that time?
Yes, so half Chinese, half English. So I've lost all my hair now, but I used to have really black hair. So
you look cute. You look cute. I remember you told me when you go back to Hong Kong, someone say you look like a movie star over there.
They did. I don't know which one it was, but they did. I suppose where I grew up, in England on the south coast near to Portsmouth, the community was predominantly white. There were very few ethnic minority people. There were Chinese takeaways and things, but very few Chinese people that I knew. I suppose in my neighbourhood there were no other ethnic minorities. So yes, it was a little bit difficult sometimes growing up in that environment because you were even in school. I was a bit different to everyone.
So 我問Alan， 咁佢就喺英國長大啦，咁由細到大咧，佢住嘅地方係好少即係 Asian 啊，咁見到咁都幾難，即係都唔係咁容易咯，grow up 係生長，咁因為都有少少種族歧視啦，因為大家都好少見到唔同種族嘅人嘅。So how can you give us some any story or experience that is really hard for you when you're growing up?
Well, I suppose it's just because I felt different, really. Maybe people at school, more secondary school. So is that high school for you? Maybe when I was probably 11 to 16 years old.
High school.
At school, there were some children that would pick on me a little bit because I was half Chinese.
Did they call you any name? Do you remember?
Unfortunately, they did.
Yeah. Like what did they call you at that time?
So then it was really Chinky.
Oh. Oh, interesting. 係啊，咁Alan 就話佢即係喺讀書嗰陣時，有啲小朋友都會嘲笑佢啦，叫佢 Chinky 㗎。It's different than here in America. They call different names. Yeah. So, but how about now? Do you feel that discrimination get better or get worse?
I think now there's a lot more. There's a lot more acceptance. I think, and there's a lot more different ethnic minorities. Integrated into the communities, and I guess it depends where you live in England. There are some bits where there can be more ethnic minority people living there, and other areas less. I suppose where I work for a big national accountancy firm now, and our department is probably maybe 50 people in our department, and we're spread across the whole of England, and it's a very, very diverse department. We have Indian people, we have people from Singapore, from Chinese background like me, or they're from China, as well as British. There's people from Europe, so Italy and Greece and that sort of area. Yeah, so we're a very, very mixed background or department now.
Oh, that's good to know. 咁我問你 Alan， 咁佢即係細個就比較歧視多啲啦。咁而家大咗仲有冇咧？咁佢話而家咧佢就係喺一個會計師樓係做 auditor 嚟嘅，即係嗰啲審計師嚇。咁佢咧就話佢做個 department 咧就好多唔同種族嘅人㗎啦，已經即係比較即係接受咗比以前接受好多。咁佢而家做嘢人咧又有中國嚟㗎啦，歐洲嚟啦，咁唔同種族嘅人都有，咁所以咧即係種族歧視已經好咗好多，冇以前咁多年前咁嚴重㗎啦。咁所以即係如果大家有興趣移民去嗰度咧，都唔使咁驚嘅。Yeah, the reason I ask because have you know Hong Kong the BNO visa? They're going to have a lot of people move to England. They already have a lot of people from Hong Kong move to England. So how do you feel about it?
I think it's going to be exciting. I think I'm not sure. No, I've got some more. My Chinese cousins are still over in Hong Kong. Some of them came over here to study many years ago, but they are all living in Hong Kong. So whether any of them can apply, I'm not sure. But yeah, I think it's a good thing if they can get out of Hong Kong because of the Chinese rule and come over here. They'll be from reading the press and things, they'd be very welcome to come over here.
Oh, good to know that you welcome them. Yeah. So 咁我問我同Alan 講，佢話而家我就知道香港好多人移民去英國啦。咁我問佢，咁佢哋有啲咩感受咧？咁多人去移民由香港去，咁佢話佢哋好 welcome， 佢好歡迎佢嚟。佢話佢覺得好 exciting， 因為佢都有 cousin 而家喺香港住緊嘅。咁佢哋都可能諗到咧，或者會移民過嚟都唔定嘅。咁佢覺得 即係呢啲機會係好好咯。Thank you for your welcome to Hong Kong people to go to England. I think it's good to know because it's a big decision in life. You know, you have to move away from your homeland to another country, and the country you don't even know how the people over there. And then we know Alan. Alan is very nice, very sweet. So people like him, and people don't have to worry, right? If a lot of Alan there, then everybody should feel safe and feel comfortable. Yeah. So how do people, the local people, right, and how do they support the idea of Hong Kong people move over there?
I haven't really spoken to anyone locally about it, but I know from the news stories when they're talking about the BNO visas, there was lots of positive comments because people can comment on the news feed, like on Facebook, and there were lots of positive comments. But even when my mum moved over when she lived in England for probably nearly 50 years before she passed away, and she loved England so much. She liked the climate here. She liked the seasons. She would find Hong Kong when she was growing up too hot or too dusty and just too busy. And I guess it's different now, but she very rarely went back. She loved living in England.
OK， 咁我同阿 Alan 講，咁佢即係本地人support 香港人去咧，咁佢話佢好多 news coverage 啊，啲新聞啊，同埋報道啊，咁佢都係好 positive 嘅，咁即係啲反應又好好嘅，咁佢都嗰度都好歡迎香港人去到啊，咁同埋佢媽都係香港人啦，咁都喺英國住咗50幾年，咁佢話佢媽咪都好少返香港，因為住咗喺英國嗰度咧，佢就覺得即係冇咁嘈啊，同埋啲又冇咁多人啊，覺得住得好舒服咯。咁我諗大家都即係聽完之後，咁我諗會好放心去到嘅。Yeah, I know you're talking about your mom ready to go back to Hong Kong. How about you? Have you went to Hong Kong?
Yes, I went for the first time, I think 5 years ago. I only went for a week.
Wow.
It would have been nice to have gone there a bit longer. I went with my sister. So my sister lives in Perth in Australia, and so she flew from Australia to Hong Kong, and I flew from London to Hong Kong. But because my mum never taught me any Cantonese, so I don't speak any Chinese, and I suppose this is when I still had hair, so I probably looked a lot more Oriental, and I always felt a bit embarrassed, going over to Hong Kong, where my mum came from, and I wouldn't be able to understand anyone. But when I went over there, most people spoke English anyway, or they as soon as they knew I couldn't speak any Chinese, they would talk to me in English, so I didn't feel awkward anymore.
Good.
It was amazing. It was amazing.
I think especially with your British accent, they so used to it, right? Sometimes, every time I go back with my friend American, they have a hard time understand us because they're not really quite used to the American accent. But because the British rule Hong Kong for a long time, and my friend have to speak with the English accent so people can understand them. Is it interesting? Yeah. So 我問 Alan 咧，就佢都去過香港喎。我問下佢即係有咩感受咯？去到香港，咁佢話佢初有啲擔心啦，因為佢唔識講中文。雖然佢媽咪係香港人，但係佢就冇學到講廣東話啦。咁啊，淨係識講英文。咁去到佢都話好開心，因為本地人香港全部都好多人即係同佢講到英文啊，咁佢都好開心咯，即係可以同人哋 communicate。因為香港人嘅英文水準都唔錯嘅，咁係咪？係啦，咁so when you went to Hong Kong, how do you like it?
I loved it. Yeah, it would have been nicer to spend more than a week there because it was so busy. We went to lots of different places. Up the Peak, we did the Star Ferry. We went to see the big Buddha. Yeah, it was just lovely. Obviously, the shopping centres and the market. I can't remember what the market area is called, but the market area.
Yeah, what do you like the most over there?
I think it's so pretty. The harbour at night time when they do all the lights and things. We went there to watch all the laser display. And it's just such amazing experience. And then we went to the cemetery on the hillside. So that's where my grandma and grandpa are buried, and there's so many graves up there. It's quite hard to find, but we managed to find them, and it's such an amazing view looking over the harbour. So I love the underground. The underground is amazing, and just all the food, and I think it's just the culture. You know, that's my heritage. That's where my mum came from. So we went up to the cemetery on the mountainside as well to see where my grandma and grandpa were buried, and that's a lovely view over the harbour. It was quite. We ended up. I think we walked up to the top. So it's quite a long way, and it was quite difficult trying to find where they were buried. But luckily, my sister had been there before, so she remembered. And that was the first time I think my sister had been back since Mum had passed away. So we took a book of my mum and sort of took it up to the gravestone where my grandma is buried, and so almost like brought Mum back home to see her mum as well.
Oh wow! So your mom buried in Hong Kong now? So you brought your mom home back to Hong Kong?
My mum's buried in England, but we took a picture and put it on the gravestone. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's so nice of you guys. So sweet. They must be so happy to know that what you guys did for them. You know, that's really sweet treat for you to do it. Yeah. 咁Alan 咧就香港啦，去過好多地方啦，又去大嶼山啊，又去山頂啊，好多名勝佢都去過啦。香港，我問佢最中意香港係乜嘢咧？咁佢話最中意香港個夜景啊，好靚啊，嗰個喺個海嗰度啊，咁同埋佢又去今次咧翻去又去拜山喎。佢因為佢啲祖父祖母喺嗰度啊，特登翻去佢媽咪唔喺度啦，咁啊特登帶佢媽咪就翻去香港就見佢爹哋媽咪，佢亦都係去拜下佢哋，即係 pay a respect 啊咁樣啦。我覺得佢即係呢個心好好咯，即係特登翻香港揾翻佢哋嘅傳統嘅習俗，咁同埋佢都好中意香港嘅文化食嘢啊，同埋地鐵啊，佢都好中意咯。咁 Yeah, I'm so glad you go back there to see where your mom come from, even though it's so many years things change, and you're kind of lucky to go back 5 years ago. And you know, for the past 2 years, so many things changed in Hong Kong. Like I think you heard about the protests and now the COVID,
Yes.
and just it's good that you go back before everything changed so much. You can still see the old Hong Kong. I think not only you
Yes.
missed Hong Kong, we missed Hong Kong too. You know, the good old day, we call the good old day. Yeah, 係啦。咁我同 Alan 講好彩啦，佢5年前翻咗去，咁因為而家呢幾年佢想翻都難啲啦，有 COVID 啊，有即係好多事發生啦，香港咁樣嚇。So we'll talk about the COVID, and I know you not only the auditor, and you also you audit in the hospital, and also you in the medical team too. Can you give us some more about what you do about in medical side?
Yes, so I used to do some work for the ambulance and sort of take patients from hospital or take patients to hospital just as a bit of an extra job. But now I just cover events. So if there's a running race going on, or a horse show going on, or an outside event on, then I cover the first aid for now. But with COVID at the moment, all of the events stopped, so I haven't done any of that during in 2020. Sometimes I would go into schools and teach children about human body, and that's why the skeleton's here.
That's great.
Because they can learn about the human body and about human anatomy as well as first aid. But at the moment, I'm doing some online teaching on Zoom for some groups. But first aid's cool. You need to be using bandages and practicing rather than watching a video or someone telling you how to do it.
Oh great！咁啊 ，Alan 咧，佢唔係淨係審計師啦，唔係淨係佢喺佢嘅工作就係喺啲醫院啊審計師嚟。咁佢除咗呢樣咧，佢都有學佢嘅 medical 嗰邊嘅經驗喎。咁去啲學校係教啲小朋友啊。咁佢亦都有幫醫院喺個急救室嗰邊啊咁樣嘅。咁 I know you have to go through a lot of training in order to take on that job, right? What kind of training you have to go through?
So I started just doing some first aid courses. So I volunteered with a charity called St. John Ambulance, which is like a first aid charity over here. And then I sort of started paying to do some qualifications as well, just a little bit higher up, and did some training on driving the ambulances as well, so they could be, when you have the flashing lights and get through traffic. So I did some training for that as well. So I'm not a paramedic or anything, or a nurse, called an emergency medical technician. And so but it's in that, because I don't do it all the time. It's quite easy to forget things if you're not practicing it every day and using it every day.
咁啊 ，Alan 咧，佢話佢都有去過啲training 咁，但係佢就唔係話啲專業嗰啲啦，但係佢都有學過，然後跟住咧佢有喺個網度都有教啲小朋友點樣去做急救嘅程序啊咁樣。咁 so for you work in the hospital doing auditing and all that. So for COVID, how did it affect you? Does that anything change your life during COVID?
Yes, so at the moment I'm working from home all the time. I've been working from home nearly a year, coming up to a year now. I'm still doing the audits for the hospitals, but they're sending me the information through so I can do the audits. But yeah, so it's difficult working from home and just being in the same environment every day. Before, I would be going to a different hospital probably every week, every couple of weeks, and I would be travelling probably for maybe an hour and a half each way. So it was just nice to have a different break sometimes from being at home. But now with COVID, I'm just this is my fix. So I just sit up here every day, and it's a bit boring.
I know。咁啊 ，Alan， 我同佢講，咁而家COVID 啦，咁就疫情啦，咁問佢有冇對佢有咩影響？佢話佢就而家又係喺屋企做嘢咧，而家好似佢而家嘅 office 咁樣，就成日都係韞住咗喺嗰度啦。咁我哋其實好多人都係咁樣啦，即係希望會快啲過啦。咁So I know in England the COVID is pretty serious and also have mutation, so is people do they have fear? How do they handle all this stuff?
I think now we've got the vaccines rolling out. I think there's like 15 million people that got the vaccine now, which is good. Still lots of people that believe COVID is happening, or it's all false news. Many people that don't believe it, but the hospitals, we're in lockdown 3 at the moment, and over winter hospitals were very, very busy with patients. More patients than in the first wave, unfortunately. And I think there's some people get more affected by it. So my sister, who's half Chinese as well, she was quite ill. She got COVID from work. She works in one of the hospitals, and came down with COVID, and that made her quite more poorly than her husband, who's English. Doctors think it might be because of her Chinese heritage, maybe her mixed gene, maybe.
Oh, wow. So 咁啊 Alan 我問佢咁而家因為英國嘅好嚴重啦，嗰啲疫情啊，已經有變種啦，問佢有啲人驚唔驚啊咁咯？佢話個醫院都好緊張啊咁。佢個sister 家姐咧都中咗招喎，因為家姐係醫務人員嚟嘅， 咁但係佢個丈夫咧就係外國人嚟嘅，咁但係佢就比佢丈夫辛苦好多，亦都要去急救啦、急救室啦，咁佢就話可能佢嘅因為有啲中國人嘅血統咧，就比較容易更加感染同埋嚴重啲，因為佢個丈夫就冇乜事喎，變咗。So do you think that medically proof that for Asian blood, especially Chinese, will have impact more seriously than the non-Asian, I would say?
I've read, I think, because I think the variants over here are different maybe to the one that were over in China originally. I think it has maybe affected certain cultures more, I think. I'm not really an expert on it, but from what I've read, it has had more of an impact. But then there's lots of English people that have died, and lots of young people have died as well without any medical conditions. So it does it still affects people that maybe have been quite healthy in the past and haven't got any and are British or white.
咁我問佢係咪真係即係有中國血統，係咪會真係容易感染啲啦？咁佢話佢都唔係專家，咁其實即係佢睇到好多咁其實唔係即係中國人都感染到，咁其實即係呢個病對人人都有問題，唔係淨係真係中國人咯。咁So have you get vaccinated yet?
At the moment, they're vaccinating, I think, people that are older than 60 years old, or they've been poorly. So I won't be vaccinated probably until August, September, maybe.
Oh, really? August, September for you?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
Yeah, I've got a while to wait, yeah.
Oh, wow. So for us, we heard now in United States, it's 65 and older, and a lot of medical worker, essential worker get vaccinated. For us, they say about April will be our turn.
Oh,
so,
really? Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's hopefully it's true. We don't know. So because we want to get vaccinated so we can travel in summer. So I know. We haven't traveled for like a year, you know. So and we put our hope up. Hopefully we can get vaccinated before summer, but we don't know. That's what we've been told about April probably. Yeah. So 咁Alan 話佢英國開始啲人都打針咯喎，即係好似美國咁65歲以上就打，但係到佢咧佢就可能要8、9月先打到。咁但係我哋美國呢邊咧就聽講我哋呢個年紀咁樣嘅咧就大約4月度已經開始有得打㗎啦，咁樣希望我哋快啲，因為我即係暑假好想去旅行，但係如果唔打咗即係去旅行就冇咁安心咯嚇。So for you, probably still have to wait August, September. So you probably a lot of people still haven't planned any traveling for a while, right? Probably.
No, and even with the vaccine, I think there's still going to be restrictions on traveling. I think for a while. I think Europe were a bit behind in doing the vaccinations. Yes, I think it's still going to be maybe 2022. Might be to go on holiday, maybe, hopefully.
Yeah. So during the COVID, so if people say like from Hong Kong come over to find a job, is it hard for people to look for a job right now for employment?
I suppose at the moment, lots of businesses are closed because of COVID. So they're not allowed to. The way they do get some government support to help keep the employees paid. There's also with a lot of the retail even before COVID, a lot of shops were closing down because a lot of people online shopping, particularly with Amazon and eBay. There's other routes to buy online, so many shops were starting to close down. There's always a Chinese takeaway always do really well. The other sort of fast food to do quite well, and they've been allowed to stay open on the third lockdown. But yeah, at the moment, yeah, I think the employment has unfortunately gone up because of COVID.
How about before the COVID? The employment looked pretty good before the COVID, or people still have a hard time finding a job?
I suppose I think it was improving. I don't know the exact numbers, but there were. Yeah, I think it was starting to come down. But I guess it depends on what the people what qualifications people have, or experience they have, or what jobs they can do. There's some jobs which you always need people, so like nurses and doctors and dentists and things. They're always looking for those people to come over, all the professional ones. No accountants and lawyers and things, but those other sectors and things, it's more difficult to find work potentially.
咁啊 Alan 就話我問佢即係而家 COVID 係咪好難揾嘢做啦？佢話係啊，因為好多shop 啊，好多地方都係閂門啦，冇做生意啊，咁即係幾難揾嘢做嘅而家。咁但係 COVID 之前咧就冇咁差嘅，即係容易好多嘅。咁同埋你主要係做邊一份嘅職業啦？佢話如果你即係專業啊，譬如醫生啊、護士啊，同埋好多即係專業人咧都容易揾嘢做嘅。So how about if I'm not a professional, say, is it hard to find a job over there? Or do you know what area is really hot right now in England?
I guess the big cities, London, Manchester, Birmingham, that they would, maybe Liverpool, that they would have more, I suppose, more Chinese communities based there. But I think with this new, is it the BNO visa? I think the British government support people to go there and help them find work and things. I was minding. I don't think they would just let them come over and they would have to, just look after themselves. I think there would be support there to help them get into work and have training and those sorts of things.
咁啊 Alan 話如果揾嘢做咧，可能去啲大城市啊，譬如喺 London 啊、Liverpool 啊嗰啲 Manchester 嗰啲地方咧，就容易揾嘢做，因為多啲 support 啦，同埋多啲中國人啊，唔同種類嘅人啊咁咯。So you recommend if people come over from Hong Kong, they'll probably settle down in the big city first, and then easy to look for a job and more support?
Well, yeah, I guess if they've got friends and family over here already, then that's a good start. But with those bigger cities, they're going to have more sort of Chinese sort of communities embedded within them. My closest one is probably Portsmouth. I'm sure they've got quite a large Chinese community. I know in London, the bigger cities, they do have towns. They're not going to be as big as maybe the Chinatown, but they're still Chinatowns and things. So yes, there will be places for them to go to. I suppose it really depends on whether they want to live in a big city or live in a smaller, quiet town like I do. Maybe I guess with the internet you can do research, can't you, and have a look and see what you like.
Sure. 係啦，咁我同阿 Alan 講，佢就話即係如果你即係嚟到可以即係周圍睇下啦，唔係一定要係 big city 嘅，去其他啲小鎮啊，咁睇下中意住邊個地方都 OK 嘅咁。How about you? Do you prefer the big city or the small town? What do you like?
I prefer the quiet towns. Yeah, I've been up to London sometimes, but I find it too busy and hectic when I go up there. And I like travelling on the underground. It's the underground in London is so. When I went on the underground in Hong Kong, that was nice and clean and lovely. But London, it's just so busy and you're squashed in. It's just not nice. So, yeah, I like living in more the smaller towns where maybe you go to the countryside or go to the seaside and things.
Oh, so where do you live now?
I live in a town called Gosport, which is about 10 minutes away from the sea. which is the English channel. If people want to find it on the map, it's called Gosport, and it's opposite the Isle of Wight. But yeah, the sea is not as nice as the sea when I came to visit you in LA. Where you got the lovely Pacific Ocean, which is lovely. The sea is not very nice here. It's cold and murky, so it's not very. You can swim in it, and it's probably better in the summer. But yeah, winter it's all cold and yucky.
But still lovely, 10 minutes from the sea, it might be very beautiful.
Yeah.
I'll share some picture with us. I would love to see it, see where you live. I want to know more. It's very interesting to see everyone, their life and, where they live and all that. It's so cool. Yeah. Thank you for sharing so much about your life. It's so interesting. And thanks for your time too. And I'm so happy to see you. Haven't seen him for so many years. Finally, we connect. And good to know you are safe and healthy and stay healthy. So because during this time everyone is at risk. So. So thank you so much and share everything. So hopefully we'll see you again and share more about your life with us. Okay?
I'd love to. I'd love to come back, Wing. Yes, please.
Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Oh, cute. You got the pad. Oh, hedgehog. Hold that dear. How old is he? He or she?
She is 3, I think. Just over 3.
3? Oh, is it popular in England to have hedgehog as a pet?
Not really, no, but becoming more popular.
Oh yeah, so how wide would you choose hedgehog for a pet instead of a doggy?
Oh, because Jacob's allergic to some animal fur.
Oh.
So Jacob's allergic to cats and dogs, and also because I was working out of the having quite long days and things, it wasn't fair really. The dog maybe and I'll be out of the house for 9-10 hours a day.
Yeah.
So I thought,
can I see again? Can I see again? It's so I want to touch it. I want to pet. Is it how does that feel? Is it hard, the fur?
No, it's quite nice. They do go into a ball. Yeah, they do go into a ball.
Oh, this is so funny. Yeah. Are they hard to take care of?
Nice.
Yeah.
No, not they're very dirty animals. They're very mucky and they do a lot of pooing.
That's so cute.
They do a lot of pooing.
Love it. Yeah. So usually how long they can live? Like how many years you're gonna have them?
Probably anywhere between 3.5 to 5-6 years.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Maybe.
What's her name?
This one is Daisy. I had a girl one first of all called Blossom, and I got a boy one, but they didn't live together. So they had 3 children, and this was one of the babies.
That's amazing! Oh my God!
I kept the two girl babies, and they lived with the mum, and then the boy baby I gave to a friend of mine because I couldn't keep them all together. But then Grayson, who was the boy, the daddy hedgehog, he died last year. He was 3.25, I think, and he died quite suddenly. So I don't know why he died. So
your grandpa. Your grandpa is so cute. So you got 2 right now, and I didn't know they're babies.
I've got three girl hedgehogs, so the mum and the two daughters, and then
Mom
I've
and
got
two
these
daughters.
other, mum and two, yeah.
Oh my God! So did you see them born?
No, I didn't. I saw them. After you can hear them squeaking. Yeah, but you have to leave them after. Yeah, you have to leave them for 2 weeks really, because otherwise the mum could kill the babies if you interfere.
Oh, okay. So
They do it. They do it.
So do you know she was pregnant at that time?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so amazing. I can't believe it. It's so cute, so lovely. Yeah, I always saw that you holding a little really hedgehog, so cute, and the pet is so different, you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
So are they playful? Are they playful?
Not like a rabbit or a they used to be quite cuddly, but all they want to do now is try to climb off me. So sometimes you can hold them and sort of tickle them on the tummy and things, but normally they want to go back into the house and have their food. Because this is their waking, because they're nocturnal animals, so they wake up in the night time and sleep during the day. So normally this time I'm going to bed, I'm normally feeding them, so they want to have their food, and they're quite fidgety. And if they get across with you, they can bite you, and it does hurt.
Have you got bitten? Do they bite?
Yeah, a couple of times. Yeah.
Oh really? Sharp. Was that hurt?
But they often. Yeah, but the thing is, they bite and then they don't let go. You have to pull them off. Yeah, they clamp down. Yeah.
So how do you let them go? How do you let them go?
You just have to try to tickle them or pull them off. Yeah.
Oh
I haven't been bitten in a long time. But normally they just bite you, but if they get cross you.
Oh, that's so interesting. Oh, that's so cute. Say hi. Oh, that's so cute. They look really cute. So is your kid? Do they want a dog or cat? Do they want any?
Yeah, they would like a dog, or they would like me to have a dog. But then I would have to do the looking after of it and the name and stuff. So yeah. So, but also I suppose it can be quite expensive having dogs sometimes, the insurance and if they're poorly and things. So I suppose during that I did look after.
I think the expensive is when they see the vet.
Yeah. You can get the insurance. You can get the insurance for them, but it can still be expensive. When we last March, I think, when we first went into the first lockdown, my niece had some puppies, and they hadn't been neutered or spayed, and she had a boy. She had a sister and a brother puppy. So I looked after the brother puppy for probably a couple of months, because he was starting to show interest in his sister, and so I looked after him for a couple of months, which was quite nice to have him. But then it was still we had to go out for walks in the rain and things. Make sure
it's more work. It's a lot more work.
More work.
Yeah. And the reason I have a dog is because I work from home. Yeah. So if I don't work from home, it's going to be difficult. Yeah. So
and then also when you do go into the office, it's only for a couple of hours. So but with me, when I was out, I'd be out. I'd be leaving the house at 7 in, and maybe get back at 5, 6 in the afternoon. So it's a long time for the dog to be in all that time. So
it's not going to work. Then when I was in college and I have a dog before, and I always have to leave the house, have meeting and all that, and my dog always pee on my bed. Pee on the cover or the sofa. I was like, And I don't understand. And now I have a dog. I understand because you really need to spend the time with them. They got anxiety, you know.
Yeah.
So now I'm always home. This dog is fine, you know. He's okay. He's really good. Yeah. And I remember in college, they're totally different, you know, because I wasn't home. Yeah. So it's not working. Yeah. And they know how to piss you off.
Oh, yeah, they do. Yeah,
they know.
They're very clever. Yeah, they're very
I know, and I hate the most. My bed and the sofa. It's how you clean, you know. It's like So, well, thank you for your time to talking with me. It's so fun.
Thank you. Well, lovely to see you. Lovely to see you. It's been a long, long time.
I know. We need to have more chat like that regularly, so we can, you know, keep in touch. And it's so easy now to just, you know, open the Zoom and we can chit chat and all that.
Providing my internet doesn't go down.
That's good. Yeah. So especially now we locked down. You're home all the time anyway, right?
Hi，多謝大家收睇我嘅節目，記得 subscribe and 俾 like 啦。